Hi, so my name is Martin, and this is my summary video of my growth and learner's mindset strategy for my students in my class. So I've written a blog post about growth mindset, learner's mindset, fixed mindset. And I've started off with comparing growth versus fixed mindset and pretty typical stuff that you'll see throughout the literature. And so this is a blog post that I will be making available to my students through our online portal. And so the focus of my blog post has been more about kind of how to get out of the fixed mindset. So fixed mindset can be very limiting. So it can be difficult when we realize that we're stuck in a fixed mindset, how to break out of that so that we can get into a more productive growth and later learner's mindset. A lot of the literature online is somewhat superficial, where they talk about it's kind of like, and Carol Dweck, who popularized the growth mindset, it talks about this as well, kind of getting into like a false mindset where it's just kind of like, oh yeah, just think positive, to say positive things, and that's how to get in growth mindset. So I've tried hard to avoid that, and so I focused a lot of my blog post on how to break out of the fixed mindset, and it relates a lot to what I've been reading in recent years, and it seems to be kind of fairly more and more well established nowadays in psychology circles regarding awareness and consciousness, acceptance of kind of that negative voice in our head that can often drag us down and relates to being stuck in fixed mindsets. And so I talk about, just being aware of being able to identify and recognize when we are stuck in a fixed mindset, being aware of both what are elements of the growth mindset, what are elements of the fixed mindset. And then so the psychology on that is that once we can kind of typically that sort of those negative thoughts in our heads, it's kind of vague, it's there, we sort of see it, but it's once we can be more specifically aware of it, once we can put words to it, we can verbalize it, sometimes literally, like, oh, I'm doing that thing, and that thing is part of a fixed mindset. Often just that simple awareness can be a big step into breaking out of something very limiting, something negative like the fixed mindset. So that's an important step, I feel, towards working into or developing a stronger growth mindset. I've also talked about in my blog post about drawing on past experiences, kind of like we all have something we're good at, even though we might think we're stuck in a fixed mindset, but there's something we're good at. So we've been there, we've succeeded in some form or another. It doesn't matter how small it is or how kind of might not be related to work or school, but there's always something that we've done, we've achieved, succeeded at. So I try to encourage in my blog post for people to look back on that. What did I do that resulted in that success? We know what we need to do. Sometimes and if we can identify that, what we did correctly previously for that success, that can be a big help. And then also finally recognizing that growth and learning happens outside of our comfort zone. So we have to kind of push ourselves to really fully develop a growth mindset. We have to recognize that we have to be uncomfortable. We have to push ourselves. We have to challenge ourselves. And so that involves failure. That involves pain. Sometimes emotional, psychological, sometimes physical pain, but that's part of the requirements. part of the process of developing a strong growth and then moving into a learner's mindset. So I have this blog post that I want to make available to students. I don't want it to be just kind of like a one-off, like here's a blog post, read it, figure it out, or even like I do want to include something I have like an introduction overview of in one of my courses early on, first day of the course, and just kind of give students overview of what to expect. I do want to include a small growth versus fixed mindset sort of talking point, but I don't want to make it a big initial thing, kind of bombard them with this. I just want to kind of ease them in, have a couple talking points in my introduction in the early part of the course, and just start like a classroom discussion. Just start just get the students thinking about it and yeah, just get that conversation going. And I don't see it as a one-off thing. It's kind of like a quick introduction early on in the course. It's ongoing. For me, I see this as an ongoing kind of conversation discussion with students, and not kind of like overtly, just kind of like happens, in a situation when something, I overhear some students talking about something, or I have a student come to me and the way they're talking, the language they're using, I can see, okay, yeah, you're getting into a fixed mindset. So that's to kind of like a primer, like a trigger, like, hey, now let's, I can work this into the conversation. And it's as well especially when students come to me when they're struggling, and they're maybe, failing the course, and I can see they're trying, they're doing everything they can. And in the past, I've felt bad myself because I didn't feel I had all the answers. I didn't have a magic bullet to help them. And there rarely is kind of a one thing like, oh, just do this thing and you'll magically succeed. But now that I'm learning about these differences between growth mindset, learner's mindset, fixed mindset, now I have some language, some verbalization that I can use to help them understand, to help them motivate them to break out of perhaps a fixed mindset, or certainly encourage a stronger, deeper growth mindset. And it's not something that happens overnight. We can't just do a couple small things and automatically suddenly we have a growth mindset, or even a learner's mindset. These things takes time. But my hope is to kind of small increments, small victories throughout my class, and with individual students to help them start recognizing, thinking about, and developing into a growth mindset. And in a larger sense, that's the first step. That's a big step towards getting into a learner's mindset, more kind of larger, longer term, lifelong kind of a learner's mindset. So yeah, thank you for watching my video.